Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at Predaplant in the newest format post-structure deck. Now, Predaplant is a very interesting deck post-structure deck because it's kind of, it's got a weird trap tricks matchup, right? Going first, it does what Predaplant does going first, right? It just wins. But going second, it doesn't do great against trap tricks. So you kind of have to like overextend it to like bad cards, Ash and Valor being them. They don't really work into a lot of other matchups, but because of the trap tricks matchup, you kind of just I'd argue that it's kind of imperative to play cards like this because of the like very I wouldn't say unwinnable, but very difficult to win matchup that is trap tricks. So let's just get into the deck profile itself. We're playing one Trianthus. Trianthus is pretty just decent. It's used. You can use it to spread Predaplant counters. You can use it to just generate advantage. You can add Bufo back to hand if you activate this on turn 3 or 4, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty much just used for that. It's also used for scales, so you can also pendulum someone with this card. Quite good. Dracophilium Hydra. Essentially, this is just a kaiju for anything with a Predaplant counter on it. Quite good. You can also quick effects. It's also a quick effect like Battle Trick. You can like bump somebody down by 500. Pretty decent. It works it's mostly just used for the kaiju effect, but you know it's usually just good to have. 3 for Scorpio. I really like this. I really do like Over Scorpio. Essentially, it's just the main starter of the deck. You normal summon Scorpio, you Scorpio, pitch something, summon Cobra, and then Cobra search, usually instant fusion, sometimes super poly, to then go off, right? It's the main starter for the combo. It's what you're grabbing off Lone Fire. It's kind of just works that way. It facilitates other combos. 2 Cobra. Most people are on 1. I prefer 2 because of all the things in this meta that like mill your deck out. Something like Kashtira, Ogre, and Ninja. Something like Orochi in Layer of Darkness. Some Layer of Darkness plays Orochi. But although I don't think the Gren Maju version is the best anymore, I do think it's also, you know, it's better to have this and then find Scorpio somehow, pitch this, and summon the other Cobra, right? They can still, because usually when you draw Cobra, your combos are kind of limited, but without this, you can just, without the like stress of needing to, of like, oh man, I hope I don't draw Cobra or I lose this game of the tournament, right? It can slightly break your hands, but you know, you usually need a free discard anyways, so it's not super serious. 3 Lone Fire, just grab Scorpio. 3 Ash, I'm going to group this in and also talk about the 3 Valors. Essentially, these hand traps, are, as I explained before, are for stopping trap tricks, right? You can go Ash on the either Parallel Exceed to make Rafflesia, or the Murmillo to search a hole, or, you know, just limit the kinds of disruption they have. And then Valor hits Sarah, right? Just to prevent the, if like they go set, and then if they have Sarah on board and then they activate Shadebrig, you do have to Valor it, or they're gonna plus to no end. You'll be dealing with like 4 interruptions on your turn, which Predaplant just can't really play through very well. So you do need these to help in the trap tricks meta. Right after this like most recent tournament, I don't think we'll be maining these cards. Probably going back into the sideboard over like this. I don't think Droll is real. This is, you know, ignore the side deck. I threw this together in 10 seconds. But I think we'll probably start moving hand traps into the sideboard after, you know, trap tricks becomes less and less popular. It did just come out, but otherwise, for now, I think it's necessary to main the hand traps. 1 Merly. This card is really important for the deck because it pairs with the Griefs. I'll talk about the tier limit package when we get to Grief. 3 Clam Dasundu. I don't know how to pronounce this card's name. It doesn't matter. Essentially, as we've played the format more and more, we've we started out, I didn't even play this card in my first list. A month in, I started putting this card in at 1. Once like in like mid December we started putting two in, and now we are on three Sundew. This card is good. This card is very good. Essentially, you can either fuse guys away to remove threats that might be used for that you like. You can fuse away guys that have Predaplant counters on them. So after a Triantis or even just a monster that they didn't link off after getting hit with Stapelia, you can fuse them away, make usually Fusion Dragon, maybe Mud Dragon, just use the super poly targets basically. And otherwise, yeah, no, Sundew is just broken. It's also good for some combos, right? You can go like Sundew plus like Amul Melodies if you want. If you like tribute through and you've already used up your Bliss activation, you can sometimes go into Claim to Sundew and then use those to fuse melodies. Quite good. Three Blisp. This card's busted. Essentially, you can go something like a Foolish style effect. So if you pitch it off Scorpio, you can dump it off something. You can, I forget, what are you supposed to be dumping off of? You can mill it off Murley. You can pitch it off like any number of cards. You can summon it out off Ambient Melodies, right? Pitch it off a planning too on your opponent's turn to just search through your deck and then kind of perfect your hand. This consistency boost was necessary for Predaplant to compete. Same with Blisp, another card from Difo. Essentially, this is Poly, except you can search it with all your Predaplant names. I have actually considered playing Jack in the hand because we have Blisp, we have Bufo, and then we can just play and then we also have Valors. Unfortunately, Valor hits this deck like pretty hard, but not like pretty hard, but like, it hits it enough to where it's not worth it. But, it's still a funny thought. You can go Bufo, just fuse guys away. This is essentially, it's a core part of your combo, but it's also good because on your turn, it's just continuous poly, so you don't need to play things like Preda Prime Fusion, another card that I was tossing around with that we do have legal, I believe. So, you can just play Bufo instead. Skipping over the hand trap we already talked about. Instant Fusion. This card is part of the core combo. You use it to summon Ambient Melodies. Essentially, you Orpha Scorpio, pitch one, Cobra, search Instant Fusion, make Ambulo. And then it then extends your combo. You go Ambulance, Tribute Cobra, summon, probably Claim to Sundew. And then you've Climb Sundew, if you use those off into Stapelia, and then you have 3 cards in hand, plus Stapelia and a material on board. Quite a strong combo. That's the last combo I remember. I'm pretty sure there's ways that you can consistently make 2 Stapelias now, but it is what it is. 1 for 1, summon Bliss from deck. Not super complicated. Grief. Essentially with this, you can pair it up with Tier Limit Murley, and then send whatever card, like a Orpha Scorpio you left on the field with your... in that combo, you can go Grief, send the Orpha Scorpio, summon Murley, and then Murley mill 3. I believe that's how it works. Yep, you mill 3. And then if it's sent to the grave, you can fusion summon a fusion monster. So essentially, you can go Grief, pitch 1, summon Murley, mill 3. Maybe you hit something funny like a Hydra, and then you can, if you have other pieces of extension in your hand, you can link them off, or you can just, I guess, either or you can fuse them off, and then you can make something else, and then you can Murley, or let's say you can fuse the Stapelia and a Murley into another Stapelia, and then Murley and Stapelia engrave for the third Stapelia, and they shuffle back too, right? So you're not losing out on any resources. That brings you up to 2 Stapelias. Very good. It's also not hard ones per turn, if I didn't mention that. Foolish Burial, send Blisp. Called by is just good. Super Poly. It has a unique kind of application in this deck because you can search it off Cobra if you already drew your Instant Fusion or don't want to go for that combo. So essentially, you can, it's like semi-searchable, and it's super poly, right? It breaks boards. You can use it to break a lot of boards. Can't really crack the Trap Tricks board since they're all whole cards. They're all back row, but it can crack Lunalight really easily. It's a way you can. It's why the Lunalight matchup is favorable for this deck. One Ponix. This card's like decent. It's okay to search if you already drew planning. It's not like crazy, but it's like it can work, right? If you already drew planning, you can grab this, summon this, and then once per turn you can summon a Predaplant monster from hand or grave, but negate the effects. So it's just a free source of recursion, just continuously getting a little bit more material. And then planning, this card's busted. You can essentially, if you have just a Peli on the field, you just mastigate your opponent's entire board and then bid Blisp. So you get to search Scorpio and Dark Ruler your opponent's board on your turn. Busted. Extra deck, 3 Starving Venom. It's a super poly target, but it's also pretty decent to hard to make it. It's good for gaining attack and OTKing. Stapelia, 3 of it. It's part of your end board. You usually want to end on 1 or 2 at least. You try to just go through this and get as many negates as possible on board. 3 Melodies. This card is busted. Essentially, you can use this to search planning. You can also use this to search a missing combo piece, but you usually have them so you can search planning. And that's another piece of your main interactions. You can use that to also tribute a monster and then summon a monster from deck. So you can have a shockingly consistent, essentially, Orpha Scorpio plus anything. You can pitch 1 monster. Orpha Scorpio plus a monster discard ends on Stapelia plus planning. So, and 3 cards in hand. So, what do you want? What else do you want me to say? It's just, the card is just busted. 1 Mud Dragon, it's super poly target. It's probably not better than Fusion Dragon in this meta, but, it's good against some rogue decks. Bore Load, you make this to OTK. You can also make it and to put pressure on late game. Ra 10, you can make this as part of like a turn 3 pseudo end board. Like if you don't OTK, you can just link everything off, make a Ra 10, and then you have like Ra 10 plus Stapelia, and that's like a decent, that's decent as an end board. Clock Lizard, this is good in grind games. You can make 2 Link Karibos, make Clock Lizard, and then just go through and summon a bunch of Predaplant guys. Card's good. Diamond Dude recommended it to me, actually, for this list. It was in, I believe, the December tournament, mine actually, the first CCFC to play this card. He was talking it up a lot, so I trust him. And then the 2 Link Karibos, they're just good combo pieces in general. Like if you open like a weird hand with and your only normal is like normal Blisp, you can go Blisp and normal it, and link it off for Link Karibo, search Bufo, and then like fuse link it off, and then fuse a Link Karibo and like a high level Predaplant you couldn't summon, or like a Merly maybe, into like something else, and then you can go like, and then you can extend as far as you want into Stapelias, right? They're both good, but you mostly want to use them for making Clock Lizard. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know the person in my comments asking on my uploads for Predaplant lists is going to for sure appreciate this one. And I suppose I'll see you next time. All right. I will see you next